I'm at the market with Courtney, Kelley, and Kate Osborn from Kelbourne Woolens. And welcome, ladies.
Thank you so much.
And we're going to talk about Fair Isle in knit and purl.
Yes.
And shall we start by showing everybody the sweater?
Yeah, this is a sweater and hat that I designed utilizing knitting and purling within the Fair Isle pattern to create a sort of little bit of texture. It also changes your color a little bit. It can either make things pop a little bit more, or it can make things a little softer depending on where you place the pearls. So I've brought a swatch with me, and I have one section that I've already done to sort of show you what happens. The 3 center stitches of this V motif are purled, and one of them is a little contrasty color pop that's working these 2 colors here. So what I'm going to do...
You have 2 colors to begin
I have 2 colors that I'm working with.
Okay.
Here and here. And what I'm going to do is on the center 3 stitches of my motif, I'm going to purl these 3. 1 in the natural, 1 in the citrine, and then again in the natural. So we're going to be moving back and forth. So I'm going to knit my first stitch in the citrine. The next stitch is also knit. This stitch I'm going to purl with the natural. So I bring my yarn forward, I'm going to work my purl, and then I'm going to move the yarn to the back again.
Okay.
Then I want to purl using the contrast color. I'm going to bring that forward, purl this stitch, and you'll notice what happens is that your purl isn't actually going to be this color.
It's not?
The purl is created from the stitch from the row below.
Okay.
So the purl bump is actually going to be in this color.
Okay, and that's important to know.
It is, because it affects the overall look of your design.
Right. And your pattern.
And the pattern. So here you can see the purl bump that's created here cuts this almost in half, which subdues it a little bit. This is a very bright yellow, and so that it kind of tones it down a little bit and blends it. Then I'm going to purl one more with my natural.
Okay. And that bump will be natural.
And that bump will be natural because the stitch from the row below also was
natural.
Natural.
Okay.
So then in this section, I've purled using just the natural, but I purled 3 stitches that were my contrast colors from the row below.
Okay.
So those 3 bumps, as you can see, really pop.
From the row below.
From the row below. They pop those bright colors up.
And that's really forming your V, am I correct?
It is. It is. So that's kind of, that's how it works.
Kind of interesting.
It's a nice design element. It adds a little bit of texture. In here, where this is very subtle and muted, you get a little bit of shadow created underneath, which is nice, and again you get this sort of nice texture.
Now, and you did this, would I be correct in saying this was a worsted weight?
This is a worsted weight, and the pattern here with the hat is done in a sport weight. It's baby alpaca, camel, cashmere, and silk.
Oh, that's why it's so soft.
It has a really lovely hand, and one of the reasons that I chose it for this Bohus inspired design is that the alpaca and the cashmere together create a nice haze and a little bit of a halo, the same way the traditional Bohus yarns with the Angora content did. So in an updated, sort of modern, luxury fiber, that's really nice to wear.
Nice. Okay, now we're going to switch gears.
Yes.
Because, Kate, you have another technique you'd like to talk about.
Yeah, one of the things when choosing yarn for Fair Isle, you want to think about the overall look and aesthetic you want for the garment.
Okay.
So when this sweater was designed, it was designed with a lot of vintage inspiration. So there are muted colors, all sort of the same tone, and they all have contrast with one another. But when utilizing the technique that Courtney talked about, they blend and mute each other out in different ways and pop in different ways.
And you did something wonderful on the back of that sweater.
Yes. So in creating the yoke of the sweater, you want to use a short row Fair Isle before starting your Fair Isle technique, and then that lifts the back neck of the sweater up, and it creates a really beautiful neckline. It's also seen on the mannequin here, where you can see it creates a really nice
scoop. I can't thank you enough for coming and showing us how these techniques for knit and purl.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And we'll be right back.
Knitting daily. Make time for yarn every day. Visit our website for free access to all the patterns, project ideas, tips, and techniques from this season of Knitting Daily. Log on and get printer-friendly patterns and more at knittingdailytv.com. This is show 403.